Welcome to Brilliant Minds Unlocked. Today we're diving deep into a life story that really makes you stop and think. Makes you question, well, everything about success maybe. We're talking about Kim Ung-Yong.
Yes. The child prodigy. His mind worked on a level, well, it's hard to even comprehend. His IQ was officially recorded at 210.
210.
Yeah.
Just let that sink in. That number alone put him on the map globally as, potentially one of the smartest people ever.
And the early signs were just astonishing, weren't they?
Absolutely. When you look at what he did as a toddler, it's almost unbelievable. Reading fluently by age 2.
Mm-hmm. And not just reading. He mastered Japanese, Korean, German, and English before he was, 5?
Before most kids are reliably tying their shoes. And it wasn't just languages, complex scientific equations. He apparently processed them like reading poetry.
It's that speed, that velocity of learning, that's what makes him such a legend, really. A true living marvel, as they said. His mind wasn't just quick, it was like instantly comprehensive.
He was born in South Korea in 1962, right?
That's right. And pretty much from the get-go, the world was watching this incredible ascent.
Okay, let's talk about that rise. A mind like a universe, as some described it. The recognition wasn't just local, it went global immediately because the talent was just, undeniable.
Exactly. He became the benchmark for child prodigies. And the really famous moment, the one that cemented it for many, was when he was just 4 years old.
4. I still can't quite wrap my head around that.
He was on television, solving advanced calculus problems. And you had NASA scientists just watching, mouths probably wide open.
Just speechless. It wasn't just being smart. He was seen as the embodiment of human potential. Like, this is what a brain can do.
Which naturally led to this huge media persona. They called him a living miracle, the ultimate example of gifted brilliance, a global trophy almost.
But this is where the story takes a turn, isn't it? And where we hit the real core question for you listening right now. If you have all that intelligence, all that global fame, does that automatically equal happiness?
That's the crux of it, yeah. For the world, he was this amazing asset, something to be utilized. But for him, life was turning into a performance on a stage he never asked to be on, reading lines someone else wrote.
Which leads us straight to NASA. A dream, maybe. But whose dream was it, really?
That's the question. So get this. He's only 8 years old.
Nate.
And he gets invited to the United States. Joins NASA, working on research projects that were genuinely beyond what most adults, even scientists, could fully grasp.
Just try to picture that. An 8-year-old kid, halfway across the world, not on a playground, but deep in data, formulas, theoretical physics, day in, day out.
And he was there for over 10 years, contributed a lot to some really cutting-edge science, but, the sources really emphasized the psychological cost.
Right. He's being hailed as the future, but inside.
Deeply isolated. His brain was getting all the attention, all the celebration, but his basic human needs connection, deciding his own path, they were just sort of sidelined.
The pressure must have been immense.
Unrelenting. Every single achievement wasn't just his, it was a global headline. And that's where that question started to really eat at him, Is this my dream? Or am I just fulfilling the world's expectation because of this IQ number?
It's such a stark trade-off. His mind gets the keys to the kingdom of science, but his emotional self, his humanity, gets left in the waiting room.
Yeah, when the world dictates what your potential must be used for, it completely misses who you actually are.
So, after more than a decade at the absolute peak of science, he hit a wall.
A breaking point. He realized he was living someone else's story, and he made this incredibly dramatic choice.
He resigned from NASA.
Yep, decided to go back to South Korea, and his mission was singular.
Yeah.
He can get his own life back.
And you can imagine the reaction.
Yeah.
Walking away from NASA, from that level of prestige.
Oh, it was immediate, intense, and deeply, deeply skeptical. People were shocked. It wasn't just seen as a resignation. It was framed almost as a betrayal of his own amazing gift.
Totally. The headlines got nasty. Colleagues, commentators, they just couldn't understand it. The whispers started, right? That he'd wasted his potential.
Or that he was scared of the challenge, maybe? Or that he'd failed somehow and was just running home.
It really shows that societal belief, doesn't it?
Ugh.
If you have this massive talent, you owe it to the world to achieve the biggest, most visible thing possible.
They couldn't accept someone choosing to step down from that mountaintop voluntarily.
But Kim's response to all that noise, the criticism, the speculation, that was maybe the most revolutionary part. His quiet answer.
He basically said, I'm not running away from success.
He was running toward something more important, something else entirely.
And what he ran towards was, Well, it was beautifully, deliberately ordinary.
This is where he finds his humanity in humility, as the saying goes. He didn't go back to some elite institution. He enrolled at a local provincial university.
No special treatment, no VIP track. He just wanted to be a regular student. And he chose to study civil engineering.
Civil engineering, the contrast is just, wow. From astrophysics, probing the cosmos.
Right, the most abstract theoretical stuff imaginable.
Civil engineering.
Yeah.
Building bridges, roads, systems people use every day. It's so grounded, so practical.
And for his critics, that was proof. Proof that he'd lowered himself. Why waste that 210 IQ on bridges when you could be designing, I don't know, starships?
But for Kim, it wasn't lowering himself at all, was it?
Not a bit. He saw it as coming home to himself, choosing to live as a whole person, contributing in a tangible way to his community instead of just being this trophy for the world to admire.
It really forces you, the listener, to rethink what success even means. It's like a quiet rebellion against this culture obsessed with metrics and climbing higher and higher.
Exactly. And years later, people were still asking him about it in interviews. Didn't he regret leaving NASA? The fame, the legacy?
And his answer really crystallizes his whole philosophy. It's something that I think resonates if you've ever felt pulled by external expectations.
This is the quote, right? The core of it all.
Yes. And I want to really emphasize this. He said, "I'm not interested in living my life for fame and recognition. My goal is to live a normal, balanced life."
And then the picker.
Happiness is not IQ. Happiness is living in your world at your own pace.
Boom. That just cuts right through so many assumptions we have about achievement, doesn't it?
It's explosive because it challenges that fundamental idea. Higher achievement equals more happiness. And here's the guy who reached the pinnacle saying, nope, that equation is wrong based on his own life.
It makes you think critically about the goals we chase. How many of us are trading inner peace for achievements that, ultimately impress people who don't even really know us?
He realized that just being a functional, balanced human was maybe more challenging and definitely more rewarding for him than being this celebrated genius phenomenon.
And that sets up the core debate his life represents, that universal call to choose for yourself. On one side, the critics saying he wasted his brain.
And on the other, supporters seeing him as a vital role model, a genius who said no to a life dictated entirely by others' expectations of his potential.
Which brings us to that really fundamental question for everyone listening. Do we belong to our potential, or do we belong to ourselves?
Is having a huge talent an obligation, a debt you have to repay with public glory? Or is it a gift you get to use in whatever way brings you authentic fulfillment?
And this isn't just some abstract philosophical debate. His story has had a real impact. In South Korea, they actually use his story now in schools, in psychology circles.
Seriously, how so?
Yeah, it's part of discussions about mental health, about personal agency, especially regarding gifted kids. It helps shift the focus from just what can this prodigy produce to how does this person live a whole, healthy life?
He became living proof that an extraordinary mind is only truly valuable if it brings joy and peace to the person who has it.
Right. In a world obsessed with speed, hustle, getting ahead, Kim Ung-Yong's life is this quiet, powerful act of rebellion.
It gives us that great final metaphor, too. Life isn't just about reaching the highest peak of the mountain. That IQ 210 peak is dazzling, sure.
But he showed us the peak isn't the only place worth living. The valleys, the rivers, the forests, the quieter, more grounded part of life, they matter just as much, maybe more. His choice was to leave the dizzying height and build a solid, comfortable home in the valley, a life he actually owned.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, the takeaway feels pretty clear. Kim Ung-Yong showed us that real worth isn't measured by how fast you achieve things,
but by the depth of your fulfillment, the authenticity of your choices.
He proved that being the smartest man alive ultimately meant figuring out the most important equation of all.
The one balancing the mind and the soul. And for him, the answer wasn't in the stars.
Which leaves us, and you, with a final thought to chew on. Take a hard look at your own life. Ask yourself honestly, are the things you're doing truly aligned with your heart? Are they feeding you?
Or are they driven mainly by the noise, the expectations from outside? What do you genuinely want?
Because maybe, just maybe, the most extraordinary thing any of us can do is choose to live an ordinary, balanced life that is authentically, truly our own.